All right, we ready to go? Perfect. Okay, thank you so much, everybody who's got in here for 9 a.m. I'm super proud. It's going to be a great day, and you're going to catch every single awesome panel coming your way. Thank you, Kales, of course, for putting all of this together and welcoming the legal industry into Amsterdam. I cannot wait till we do more collaborations and events. And, of course, Emily over here, she does all the media, so be nice to her, because you know what happens if you're not nice. You get bad photos in there. And Jeremy, woo! I love Jeremy. He's a great, great employee. And yeah, he's been really great. So if you need anything, you just go bug him. But anyway, let's get started here. On our first panel, we've got the business of cannabis hospitality, opportunities and challenges. There is a lot of both, so I'm excited, but we do only have 45 minutes, okay? First up, I've got Alana Davis from Dabble Cannabis Co. We also, yeah, woo! We've got Nafisa Asibadar from Tech POS. Yeah. And then we also have two more streaming in here. We've got Nadine Fernell with Mama Dean's Enhanced Experiences. We see the name. We got the name. And then lastly, we have Jeremy Smith from the Canadian Cannabis Tourism Association. Okay. All right, so this panel in particular, Cannabis Hospitality, it's still in its infancy in British Columbia. With only a handful of operators leading the way, this panel will highlight the unique opportunities and challenges facing pioneers in the industry and explore the growing interest from entrepreneurs eager to enter this space. So first up, I'm just going to give you guys an opportunity to introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about what you do, and then we'll jump in on the online as well, okay?
Sure thing. Hi, everybody. My name's Alana Davis. I am the CEO of my family's farm, Dabble Cannabis Co. That is our outdoor cannabis farm where we grow sun-grown cannabis and make, solventless extracts, live rosin, and we have branched into some edibles recently and soon a drink, which is exciting. And so we're well known for our strawberry jam, and we also, our farm is on High Point Guest Ranch is the name of our farm overall, and so we are located in the Cowichan Valley, and we have a cannabis-friendly Airbnb space, which is a beautiful converted hayloft into sort of a two-bedroom loft with a clawfoot tub, lake view, where we have our private lake that you can swim in and camp beside, and a nice little cabana with a fireplace and kitchen. So we have that space where we offer events and, private camping and all kinds of different things. And I've held monthly sessions and retailer tours and a whole bunch of infused dinners and everything in between. So we have really an awesome place there, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Hi guys, I'm Nafisa from Tech POS. We take care of retail cannabis store POS systems, and the cool thing about us is that we're located here in Canada Place, so Canadian owned and operated, which is we're really proud of that. And yeah, I've been in the industry since 2015, so done a lot of different things in the vape world and now in the software field, so I'm super excited to be here and shed some light on this topic.
Awesome, thank you, Nafisa. We're gonna jump over to Nadine.
Hi guys, can you hear me okay?
Yes, we can.
So my name's Nadine Fernell. I own Mama Dean's Enhanced Experiences, and I bring all things cannabis tourism to the north. So Weed Wednesdays, education series, infused dining. I just really try to educate and break the stigma in my community. They're very progressive with respect to cannabis. So we're kind of going with that momentum, and educating is a big part of my mandate, and bringing all things Canada tourism to the north and to BC. So I'm happy to be here today. Thanks for having me.
Thank you so much. And lastly, we're going to jump to Jeremy. No Jeremy? Okay. Just kidding. Anyway, moving along. So let's get into it. When it comes to regulatory and all of its ups and downs and changes over the last few years, when it comes to the hospitality side of your business. What have been some of the biggest challenges, and tell us about how you overcame some of them.
Okay, so some of the biggest challenges are from a regulations perspective. For us as a licensed cannabis producer, the Cannabis Act is very restrictive on what we can promote. So things like my signage that would be available to only 19 plus people would have to still be like, you know, number of inches by this many inches, and it can't be larger than, you know, a piece of paper basically. So I couldn't have a large sign even in an age-gated environment, for example. I couldn't have a highway sign because that could be visible to youth. For me, my dream is to have a farm store and tasting lounge that you can, you know, of course, like tour the grow and come in and try a flight of dabs and, you know, maybe a beverage, and that you'll be able to also purchase other things, not just cannabis, like local glass or some fruit from my trees, like, you know, anything that isn't necessarily regulated product, but those things can't coexist in the same retail environment. So you'd have to have two different sort of business entities. The price for a retail store for a cannabis producer is $7,500 application fee, which is 13 times more expensive than if I were to open up a brewery, cidery, or winery on the farm. So those are a couple of the top challenges that I've encountered. There's many more, but we only have a few minutes, so yeah.
Okay, thank you so much. And Nafisa, tell us a little bit about the ups and downs of POS system with the new retail cannabis that we've been working on the last few years, and where do you see that applying to the hospitality industry?
So the challenges that we have faced, we were able to really mitigate because we were on top. Like, we were one of the first ones to come out. We made our POS system for cannabis retailers. It wasn't just, you know, pick and play from a bar or a grocery store. So this platform has been made specially for cannabis retailers. So we are actually in with all the provinces, and we do all the regulatory reporting and all that for you. So the way it would, I think that we would be able to assist the challenges that you're going to be getting from opening a lounge or a place where you have cannabis and other items such as coffee and such, is with our retail program, you're able to, good morning, it's okay. You're able to have an accessory area, which we would be able to change into food and beverage. And so you're able to use one whole platform for your store or your lounge. So we've been able to mitigate certain things, and we're already in works of upgrading our software to really push forward in the hospitality space.
Fantastic. And I can really attest to that, because when legalization first started, I was heavily in the retail side, and we worked with Tech POS, and every little issue that came up, because they all will, especially in the embryonic stages, you guys were on it every time. So it was really a pleasure working with you guys and evolving and growing. So thank you. And we just had the lovely Michelle Kuzel join us. No worries at all with Count Canna. Can you do a little introduction, and then just let us know kind of what you're doing and some of the biggest challenges that you've faced getting into more of the hospitality side, running the wonderful events that you do, and how you've overcome those.
Okay, well, thank you again, and I apologize, everybody, for being a bit late. Parking wasn't good for me. Obviously, I'm doing Count Canna. We have our platform, Joint Connections, which actually we're carving out the BC Canna Trail. That's what I've been doing. If everybody's wondering why I'm dancing all over the province, I'm literally finding anything and everything, all things cannabis, because the way I really feel that the hospitality, and I come from 25 years in hospitality, bars, restaurants, mom and pops, corporations, I've done the real, and I really feel that we definitely are going to make a lot more leverage in the space and make a lot of things happen faster by working together. So that's what my whole idea behind Joint Connections and building our platform out is, simply to make that connection from farm to shelf to consumer under one age-gated site, so that people stop spending hours and hours just trying to find one thing. So that's what literally our platform is put together. It's literally, you go in, you find a Google map, it's a Google map, you sign in and you look for BC Legacy. We tell the story. We tell you where they are. They get to tell you and advertise to you. It doesn't matter what field you're in. If you're cooking, if you're doing infusion, if you're a retailer, this is a one space. And that's what our platform is trying to do. And by doing that, by connecting those dots and bringing those people together, that's how I've managed to make headway and where I'm going. And a really key word I would like to share with everybody, instead of promoting, instead of marketing, use the word showcase. You can't get in trouble for showcasing anything. You're not selling it, you're just showing it. So that's one of the key words that I've managed to use, and it really works well, and it gets you in a lot of spaces, it gets you in a lot of places, and it gets you to meet a lot of people. And that is, of course, everyone's challenge in this industry, because we're never in the same place. It's always impossible to get rid of that owner or get a hold of that owner. So definitely I think that by coming together, by putting these platforms together, working together, everybody has their lane. I love working with, POS companies. We work side by side so that we can integrate them in. The retailers need to know about them. Even the farmers need to know how these things are working, just because they need to know how they're coming out on the other end. So yeah, I definitely believe that the key to doing it and making the headway is looking at it from the perspective of everybody, rather than this thought process or the liquor board said this. That's a great piece. That's a great piece. How do we put these puzzle pieces together to actually make a format and a place where we can go? So that's what we're trying to do at Joint Connections, and what we're doing. And I think that we have a really good chance to do that by taking these new perspectives and looking at them a different way. Consumption automatically to the public comes to smoking. We need to teach them that consumption means so many things, and we have to pick the right lane to introduce consumption. Because if we go too strong, too hard, down the wrong path, we're just going to spend a lot of time and a lot of money, and it's going to take just way too long to get there. So hopefully that helps a little bit in that regard, like by definitely doing those things together, all of it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Michelle. I can't wait to see all your product showcasing events and tours coming.
The map and everything will be live on our Road Back to Legacy tour, the 10-day tour we're doing of the entire province. Our tour starts out, we'll be hopefully here at Meeting Kales when we do our tour, but it's April 10th to the 20th. We're going to land in Moodfest. We're going from the Lower Mainland, you bet, Christian. We got posters, but the Lower Mainland, we're going up to Prince George. We're going over to Golden. We're going to visit the farmers out in Golden. We're going down into the Kootenays, meeting the Kootenay farmers. We're going to come up through the interior. We are going to come through the Lower Mainland. We're going to cross over the island, and we are featuring all legacy to legal farmers and retailers, anybody in the industry who has done this, who has been fighting the fight. We want to put your name, your face, showcase it across the province and on the platform so it's accessible for everybody. So that's our tour.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And we're going to move on to Nadine. Let us know a little bit about the regulatory challenges that you have faced and how you've overcome them.
Well, I think the biggest problem we face in BC anyways, and I'm pretty sure this applies across the province or across the country, but no two municipalities view it the same. We were very blessed. We walked into the mayor's office and said, hey, he's like, what do you want? You want to smoke some cannabis on the street? And we said, no. Well, he's like, go ahead, it's legal. And we said, no, we want to bring our cannabis community, and we want you to welcome our cannabis community, and we want to bring economic development to this region. And, it's legal. So he listened and listened and listened. And the minute we said the revenue that's generated from the cannabis industry on an annual basis, the man literally got up out of his seat, grabbed his pen and paper, and really was like, okay, tell me more. So, that's the first piece, is breaking into, those that can give you the permit, those that will allow you to shut down the street. We had Alana doing dab bars in the street. The mayor was there. That's how you break into, you just, and we had over 2,500 people in the street that day, not one issue. So, I'm very lucky that Prince George is a very progressive this community, and I've been able to break through those barriers without much challenge. But it's the way that you present the framework to them and show them that it can be done legally. We had another one in the summer with Michelle at Joint Connections. Again, we shut down. We had a big liquor. There's Crossroads Brewery, and they had a brew fest going on, and they were on the 500 block of George Street. We were on the 300 block of George Street. So there was one city block between the alcohol event and the cannabis event, and there was not one single issue. So finding the people to allow you to break into the market, and then showing them, that we can do this. We're responsible adults, and, it's not going to be, a gong show. I think that's the biggest challenge is, wherever you want to set up your business, you need to have those relationships with the local, those that make the decisions, the city, the mayor, your MLAs, and they want to listen. They want to hear it. It's not, more and more people are waking up to cannabis as an industry and an economic driver. So, we just keep pushing and pushing and pushing our way through until, that's till it's the norm, right? So, yeah.
I just want to add on something that Nadine said. So the LCRB, the Liquor and Cannabis Regulatory Branch, is the entity that's responsible for provincial cannabis regulations effectively. So things like retail store permits, event licensing is something that they're working on right now. And they've done a few different sort of like waves of regulatory reform, let's call it. So the first wave was something called production retail licenses, and so that allowed for producers to have a store where they're able to sell their cannabis in their store from their storefront. But unfortunately, as I mentioned before, the expense of that and the regulations that's required, only 3 companies have undertaken that. So I need to give a shout out to Victoria Cannabis Co. Weeds out in Pitt Meadows has just opened theirs up, and they're just getting rolling. And one up in the Shuswap area called Shukana. That's it, right? Okay. And that's it in the whole province that have been able to actually execute this production retail license. So kudos to those like front runner companies, because it's really hard work.
Yeah.
So the second wave is that they're working on is event licensing and a few other small things, like they repealed the window coverings and other sort of like little bits and bobs. But the next main one is event licensing. So things like, you would get a permit to go have a dab bar at a festival or whatever. You would be able to sell retail cannabis from a music festival or something like that. So that's what they're working on now. And then the third phase is consumption space. And they did, kind of like give a little precursor to that, allowing cannabis to be consumed on patios where anywhere that smoking is allowed. And so that is another couple retailers have done some cool stuff like Cheeky's Cannabis. I can't think of any more off the top of my... Catio? Okay, yeah. True Green, yep, absolutely. So those guys are also kind of embracing basically like outside their shop. They've got a nice little smoking area where you can go and like grab your product and go smoke back there and just like hang out and chill. And Cheeky's is really nice. They've got like covered space and heaters and little blankets. They've made it super cozy and nice. So these are the things that they're kind of like trying to get into the regulations where it's allowed. But consumption spaces where they have indoor consumption, they've got a really big provincial barrier that we're up against, which is the Clean Air Act, and workers' safety when consuming cannabis or smoking indoors, that obviously was passed for tobacco, that we're kind of up against. And so just kind of giving everyone a little bit of an idea of where the province is at, that they've basically informed us that we're looking at event licensing for 2026 probably. So yeah, just a quick update for you guys.
Oh, well spoken. Thank you. All right. Well, I know there's going to be a lot of discussion around regulatory today. That is really the utmost important thing that we could be discussing. And there is a couple of really amazing groups as well, and membership kind of basis legislative groups that are working hard on this. So if you do want more of a say as well, being a part of these groups and being a voting member and really deciding what our main focuses need to be to help benefit the entire ecosystem of this industry, I highly recommend it. And I'm just curious, not too long, but how's your experience been with ABLE or Licensed Retail Cannabis Council and other associations like that?
Fuck, what a loaded question, Brittany. I'm not usually speechless when I'm on a panel.
What would be a message that you'd want to share with them as we evolve into the hospitality side? What do you want to see from them?
I think just working together and getting alignment and making sure everyone is sort of able to work together and sort of respect each other's point of views and put everything off to the side, because we are all kind of trying to move the whole industry forward is the key thing, I think. There's definitely some challenges in lobbying and advocacy when you have people who are similar objectives but not quite the same. And so oftentimes, something that's good for producers might not actually be good for retailers or vice versa. And so I think that just having that perspective in mind where, everyone's trying to achieve like industry success and prosperity and kind of just working together to elevate the situation. And, as far as like what I've lobbied is kind of some of the things I've said already.
Just some sort of unification there and understanding that these groups sometimes are looking out for the best interest of retailers and retailers alone, and those decisions aren't always valuable or profitable for brands, for lounges and things like that. Nafisa, would you like to jump in here?
Echoing what Alana said, we really just all have to come together, and if we're not, then we're standing alone, and we've been a part of the first fight. So now we need to be part of like the bigger fight.
I mean, we could just talk about this all day long, but it is collaboration. I am a member of every single group. I think I've been a part of every alliance and every advocacy group, and everyone is doing so well, but there needs to be almost that standout where they're collectively coming together. So again, we're just not wasting our time and our resources on doubling up on things. So what I would really like to see is, first off, I'd like to say thank you to everybody that does it. However, what I would like to see is somehow these entities make that connection together so that we are actually making progress instead of one step forward and two steps back, which I feel we do a lot, because we get into these spaces and we spend another week talking about the exact same things because you've been working on something, and where those crossover, that would be lovely to see if we had these advocacy groups and different forces come together and collectively just save us a lot of time and space. But thank you again, everybody that's part of any of it.
Thank you. And we're going to bring it back to Mama Dean. What's your perspective on these types of associations and groups?
Yeah, I echo, everything. And I've been saying this for years. And we all stood shoulder to shoulder, prior to legalization, fighting the fight. Once legalization occurred, everybody felt they could do it better than the next, than their best friend that they've been fighting the fight with for the whole time, right? So, and I think the industry is coming back full circle now, and we realize that the only way we can get it done is together. And it's not about who's doing what, it's about the message, and that we're all coming across with the same message to the powers that be. And yeah, it's just, let's just, put your egos and your past drama aside, and let's just move forward and bring this home. This is our opportunity to do this. BC should be leading driving the bus, not, the caboose as we have been across the country. So, yeah, I just mirror everything that, the ladies have already said, is that, we have to come together, and that's the only way that I see it getting done. So.
Fabulous. I concur completely. Let's lighten the mood a little bit. I want to hear about your biggest inspirations. Is it a venue in California, Amsterdam, Jamaica, somewhere in BC? What kind of inspired you to pursue not only the product side, but also just the experience and the service side?
Yeah, so I sort of started my career as like a 14-year-old in hospitality, working as a busser at a golf course, and did a lot of different weddings and functions and events. And so I learned from a woman named Joanne that was such a stickler for the details. Like, you have to make sure that the tablecloths are with the seam down, and the lines where they were folded facing a certain way. And she just really, from like my literal first job ever, instilled like a really guest first experience, and like really just noticing those small little things. And so that definitely helped to form that whole sort of hospitality and service thing, kind of like got buried in my brain. And then when our family purchased the farm, and we had started doing the hospitality, where we had our Airbnb, but nothing to do with cannabis. And we ran that for about 4 or 5 years, and then COVID hit. And so then during COVID was when we were getting our cannabis farm started. And so when COVID opened back up, like restrictions for travel, we decided to change from booking.com to Airbnb and advertise as like a cannabis, like 2-bedroom loft with private lake on cannabis farm is our like title for our ad. And so far, like Airbnb is actually very like happy about that. And so I wanted to become like a winery, essentially, where you can go to our place and like, something like, there's some fancy wineries in the Okanagan, like Mission Hill or whatever. And they're just gorgeous. You walk in there and they've got, sorry? Oh, thank you. But even like, just the way that they, they've got some money to invest in like really beautiful, polished, like, landscaping, and just like some nice signage that's branded, and just really little things that kind of like enhance your experience. And so that's the future vision of my farm, is that you go to it and it's exactly like a winery, except for it's a hashery, and you go and you can like walk through the plants, and you can have a little like space to enjoy it, and it's all cohesive and a really like beautiful space where you've got the different levels of service. If you want to have like someone grind up you get to inspect it, you grind it up and we'll roll you a joint, or you have, like I said, a flight of dabs, and you might be able to get a Gibson Glassworks really beautiful piece that you get to use while you're there, because some really beautiful artwork is quite expensive and some people can't afford that, but then they would come to our place as and get to enjoy those pieces. And then that helps to support our local artists too, because then that becomes an aspiration for them to be like, wow, that was such an enjoyable dab and I really love that experience, and I want to save up for a Gibson's piece, and so just kind of like bringing that whole thing together and experiencing cannabis and serving people dabs, because in my opinion that's like the best way to get someone into it, because it's kind of an intimidating thing, and it's like there's so many pieces, and like it's not really that cohesive of a thing if you're just like thrown to the wolves to like go buy a dab rig by yourself. Like, it's not easy. I had a friend like walk me through it and I was still confused like back in the day. So just having someone there to help like walk someone through it, and like exactly like a sommelier would, like really talk through every little bit of the experience.
No, that's amazing. And I love seeing you at the Dab Bar too, because you get to see the fruits of your labor. You get to experience what you made and get that very valuable feedback from consumers and other industry people and the bud tenders selling your product. So you are very hands-on, and I definitely appreciate that about you. So you're up next.
All right. For me, The reason I'm super inspired about the hospitality and cannabis coming together is it's been a passion of mine to go across the world and consume cannabis in any opportunity that I get. So I've been to Jamaica, Amsterdam, Australia, New Zealand, Fiji, all these places, like even MJ Biz, going to Vegas and doing a lounge there. Having the experience to have a catered experience where I may not know certain things about strains, but there's someone on the other side to give me that education, just like a sommelier would in wine or beer or any of the other crafts. I think that's so cool. And for us to be, well, we're BC, we should already have been a part of that well in the past. But another one of my inspirations is Amsterdam Cafe, and yours up there going up to the lounge, right? Like smoking and being able to do it in a safe space where you're not being judged and you're actually able to try different things that you would never necessarily pick up at a store or from your friend. It really makes an experience and validates the whole user, right? Like you can actually taste, feel safe, and then take an Uber home. That's what we should have. And for the fact that we don't have enough of them, just, it breaks my heart. So to be on the software side that we can facilitate having places like this would be, it should be more, essentially. And I'm excited to be a part of it.
I agree. Michelle, would you like to share a little bit about your inspiration?
Well, my inspiration comes solely from the experience and the connection. My hospitality, literally watching my work come to fruitions of friendships that have lasted 10, 15, 20 years. You can create experiences and connections and memories with everything. And cannabis is by far the best industry and opportunity to do so. And that's what inspires me, because I worked at a bar a lot of years. I don't drink, but I created some of the best experiences. Yeah, I didn't really like hockey too much, but we created experiences of hockey buses. We took 40 members and we did raffles and everything. And there was half of them that didn't even like hockey. But it's the experience, it's the connection, and that's what hospitality is. And we're just fortunate enough in this industry to be so inspired by an incredible plant that gives us the opportunity to open those gateways to it. But I really think it just solely, that's what inspires me, is actually seeing these events, actually watching the conversations. You know, people posting their pictures, that experience, feeling that experience, that's what inspires me to go on, for sure.
Awesome. And Nadine, would you like to jump in now?
Yeah, thanks, guys. Yeah, gosh, I could go on forever, but I think, you know, what inspires me is the fight that everyone, you know, in this room that is still here today, and seeing, like Michelle says, seeing things come to fruition, seeing things happen. It's like, yes, finally, you know, like they do get it. Excuse me. But I was in Palm Desert in 2022, and that's where I saw my first ever consumption lounge, and my mind was blown. I was like, what is this? Like, we need this. Why do we not have this? And I think the key piece for us to push for in these spaces is we demand dignified consumption spaces. And, you know, we're not going to be put on the street corner in the back alley anymore. This is a legal product. For a lot of us, it's medicine, and we have a right to consume it where, you know, we shouldn't feel that we are, you know, the black sheep of the family. And yeah, so I think that's, you know, demanding the dignified space. And I just wanted to touch back on Alana's comment about promoting and, you know, our inability to do that. And I keep noticing we have a shopping complex in Prince George. It's like one of those box ones. It's got Walmart and Home Depot and all that stuff. They have a BC Cannabis store there. As soon as you drive into that complex, there is a massive sign that says BC Cannabis store. So how is that not promoting the presence of cannabis in a complex where there are children, like more children probably than adults? So that's it.
Well said. Well said. Thank you. And I think just something you're going to hear me probably say 20 times at least today is that, you know, a good approach when it comes to cannabis and hospitality is putting the hospitality part first, right? Giving that experience, the service, everything that comes with that first, and specializing in cannabis. That's where I see you guys really taking the lead on this. So having that experience, whether it was just bussing tables at the golf course or running a bar, like what do you do with that experience? How is that going to be valuable in your future? This is where it's going to show, because you've been there, you have done the dishes, you've done the deed, and now you can curate that, and now you have that unique perspective with cannabis. So I'm really excited to see what everybody comes up with over the next few years. But I think we've got about 10 minutes left. So I would like to take this time just to touch base a little bit on tourism. Now I know that there are certain farm gates set up, and there definitely is some tours that have been happening. But I would say, you know, what's going to be the biggest change when it comes to regulatory and just as an industry? What's going to be the biggest thing that's going to help really kickstart tourism so that we can really run the wine industry for their money?
Well, there's kind of so many things, but the number one problem really is that like our industry is kind of being like shooed away like an annoying fly by the government, effectively. Like they hear us, they're like, yeah, bye. And so what we need is to kind of like rally the entire industry together again, and every single person that comes to this and cares about cannabis and has a team, like I'm asking all of you to set a monthly reminder in your calendar, and on that day email both your MP and your MLA, and also even Chandra Heber, the Minister of Arts and Tourism for BC, and explain why cannabis is important to you, because they don't seem to care about businesses like mine surviving. They don't seem to care about jobs necessarily. They don't necessarily seem to care about the crazy tax revenue, or well, they do care about that, but they're not giving it up. But you know, like none of these things that we ask them seem to be like drivers and like grabbing them. So we basically need you guys to make them aware that voters care. And so if you can tell, you know, them, I care about this for stability in my industry, for growth opportunities in the thing I'm passionate about, for things I want to do on the weekend and spend my money on. You know, like literally, I don't care what it is, but just keep saying cannabis to them and say it often, because like we need to make them aware that this is a huge opportunity, and they just, something isn't get hidden. So like we need you all to tell them, because we've been telling them lots and it's just like not quite conveying.
Yeah, I agree, absolutely.
Yeah. Just keep pounding
Sure.
them. That's all I was going to say. Yeah, just keep doing it over and over and over again.
Yeah.
Nadine, time to jump in.
Yeah, mirror, exactly. I did have one thing that I think once we get the tourism, and they are getting on board, you know, like, and I think that goes hand in hand with your city council and your mayor, and you know, bringing those two entities together. But once it is seen as, once you know we kind of break through that, we're doing a great job breaking through, but we're not quite there yet. But I think that it'll open up grant opportunities for a lot of businesses and in the tourism industry, because tourism, you know, is one of the number one revenue generators in our country. And you know, now we're going to create the experiences so that they want to come here and they want to do these things. And then I think there'll be more support and money, because while it's still cannabis, it's not the growing or production of the plant. It's taking that commodity and having an experience with it, and it's the mindset, right? So and yeah, MLA, everyone you can get in front of, just say your message and just keep pounding the pavement, and we'll get through. And that's the one thing that, you know, we have these organizations, and you know, we all do our stuff, but we've never brought really the consumer in. So bringing the consumer in, that's going to be game changing. You know, you get the consumer on board, the consumer you know, to see what exactly the struggles we are facing. That will be a game changer for us, and have them saying the same message, and that's what's going to be the driving change.
Absolutely, well said. And I think just to add to all that, the promotional element of it all, like even starting with getting tickets and making your first post on Instagram, like everything is shadow banned, everything gets shut down, everything is limited. If we can't even push ticket sales and have more presence online, we can create a phenomenal plan for tourism, but who's going to know about it? So it kind of goes hand in hand. We really want to push that side as well, and just that unification. Everything comes down to finding some common denominators and then making it happen. Because if we're all battling with each other, it's going nowhere, and we're experiencing that, and it's not doing anybody any favors. So time to put our pride aside a little bit.
Well, and I just want to say openly, that's exactly what my platform is. Everybody in the industry, get on board, get your listing out there, because it is an interactive map. We are showcasing for the world. We are putting tourism on the map, accessible for the world. BC is world renowned, and we're all sitting around and letting it waste away. Are we going to waste it away until another country starts figuring shit out and takes that lead, takes that title? No damn way. It's our time to take that, and that's what I'm trying to do with Joint Connections, and why we are a total neutral basis. That's why I don't take sides. I don't work specifically for one producer. That's why I work in retailer stores, because I'm trying to demonstrate that we can do this. We can do it by following government guidelines, and we can blow it up. And we have the opportunity. It's there. We just need to move on it.
Absolutely.
Jointconnections.ca.
Jointconnections.ca. And like I said, starting April 10th, you guys will be able to see it. I'm going to be putting some stuff out this weekend so you guys can all get a sneak peek. But it is literally cannabis location markers in all different colors representing BC grown, retailers, you name it, on the map. You click it, it's all cannabis. You don't have to advertise that you're doing cannabis, because everybody that comes on Joint Connections is looking for cannabis. So let's make it easy for everybody. Let's get together and let's move forward.
Beautiful, thank you. Well, that concludes the very first panel at the very first Vancouver Hospitality Summit. Thank you, everyone that's listening in, and thank you, Dizzy, for live streaming. This is amazing. There's a ton of opportunity for this message to keep getting across, so we're going to do our end and make sure that your voices are definitely heard. So thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you, Brittany, for moderating, too.
Thanks, Brittany.
And for Kales for organizing.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, guys.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute. You know, this is, excuse me, a damn fine cup of coffee. I'm gonna let you in on a little secret. Every day, once a day, give yourself a present. Don't plan it, don't wait for it, just let it happen. It could be a new shirt at the men's store, a cat nap in your office.